How's it going, Jeremiahs? In today's video, I will be showing you basic operations that you need to know for the Korg i3 Music Workstation keyboard. These are the absolute essentials. This will not be even going into a deep dive about recording and multi-track recording and all that sort of deep stuff. These are the 27 basic operations that anyone who owns the Korg i3 Music Workstation keyboard should know. Let's get started. Whenever you have messed up and you have changed a lot of different settings which you might regret later, all you need to do to default to the grand piano voice is to use this very useful grand piano sound button here in red color. Press that and it would just default to a grand piano tone. Your Korg i3 is able to layer up to 4 different voices, 3 on the upper keyboard, which is on your right hand side, and 1 on the lower side, which is your lower part of your keyboard. And to turn on and off these sounds, all you need to do is press and hold the shift button right here and press the corresponding button. Over here, I have turned off everything, so when I play the keyboard, nothing will sound. And if I were to turn on upper one by holding on to shift and pressing 1, I would activate and turn on the upper 1 voice, upper 2 voice, and the upper 1 voice now. So you can hear that there are 2 voice layers, and we can turn on the third one as well. When you press the button for the corresponding layer, the LCD screen would show what is the sound that you have selected. How do you change the voices? All you need to do is select the layer that you want to change. Over here, it is upper 1 that I'm trying to change here. And all you need to do is just either turn the dial to scroll through the different voices, or you can very quickly go through the categories by using the left and right button. What if you would like to adjust how loud each of this layer should sound? This is what you need to do. Right now I have grand piano on layer 1 and a dark pad on layer 2. If I want my grand piano voice to be louder, all I need to do is hold on to the corresponding button for the layer and turn the dial. As you can see here, the grand piano voice is already at its maximum, so what I should do is turn down the voice volume of the pad sound. So you can hear the piano is a lot louder than the pad sound right now. If you want to change the overall octave of the sounds that comes out from the i3, this is the default. You can just press the Octave Plus button. You can hear that it goes higher, or you can press it minus and it can go to a lower octave. But what if you want only the string sound to be an octave higher and the piano voice to remain the same at the default octave? This is what you need to do. Hold on to the layer that you want to alter the octave. In this case, we want to alter the strings voice in layer 2. And I hold on to this green button here, which is the button for layer 2, and I press the plus button. You can see it says upper 2 octave plus 1. So therefore, when I play now, the piano voice will be at the default middle C octave, whereas the strings would sound higher. There's more than 100 different effects you can apply to each voice on each layer. what you need to do is press the effect here, and you would have a factory default effect that has already been assigned to each layer here. So if you want to change that to the specific layer, all you need to do is hold on to your upper one voice, and it will determine the amount of that effect 1 that will apply to layer number 1. So in this case, if I bump it up, you can hear that the piano voice, which is in layer number 1 here, a lot more reverb kind of sound. You can also change the type of effect applied by just turning the dial, and you can see there's loads and loads of effects here. What if I would like to apply an overdrive to the piano voice, and I add in loads of that overdrive sound? Let's hear how it sounds like. You can hear that gritty, very grainy kind of sound. Right now for this sound set, you can hear that there are upper 1 and upper 2 voices. And you can see that the lower voice has been turned on, and the lower voice is a glide lead, which you can see by just pressing this button over here. However, you realize that it stops at C. C becomes the upper voice again. How do you then change the split point? All you need to do is go to settings and turn the dial till you see split point here. And if you increase by moving down the arrow and increasing it accordingly, you can see that the split voice has shifted, and A3 will belong to the upper voices, and whatever is below A3 will belong to the lower split voice. In the same way, to turn on and off the split voice, right now there's a split voice. If you don't want a split voice, all you need to do is turn off the lower split button by holding on to the shift button here and pressing this. And if it shows red, your lower split is now turned off, and the entire keyboard will be your upper voice layers. What if you have learned a song in C major, but when you need to perform, the singer wants to sing in D major, so you need to move up 2 steps. All you need to do is press and hold shift and press the transpose plus button here. Move it up 2 steps, as you can see on the screen here. And whenever you press a C, it will sound as a D. It would be transposed up for you. You can press shift and press both buttons at the same time to move it back to 0 very quickly. Next, we have the Ensemble feature here. If you don't turn it on, every single note will just play as a single voice. However, when you turn it on, based on the chord that you're playing on your left side of your keyboard, if I were to play a G chord, every note that I press on the right hand side of the keyboard will be harmonized accordingly. Ensemble off, single note, ensemble on, double or triple note will be applied accordingly to thicken up your harmony. If you want to start your accompaniment and your rhythm, you need to look for this play button, this triangle button, and this square stop button. Press once to start, press another time to stop. You will not find the word start and stopped. You will be using these symbols instead. What if you would like your rhythm and accompaniment to start together with the chord that you play on your left hand? All you need to do is turn on sync start. If this is blinking, your accompaniment will only start when your chord goes down. The Korg i3 comes with 2 different intros and 2 different endings for every style that you select. What is the difference between the intro and ending? This is the difference. If it's lighted up as green, you are using intro 1 or ending 1 at the end of a song. If you press it again, it will show as a red light, and that would be intro 2 or ending 2. Intro 1 contains chord changes. As you listen, I'm just holding on to one chord over here. You can hear the chord changes, the harmony changes. However, if it's red in color, it will just only stay on to one single chord and actually responds to your own chord changes. Now I'm going to show you with your own chord changes by using intro number 2. What if you don't want a very fancy intro? When you come in, you can just turn on count in over here. If you turn this on before you start playing your chords, it will act as a count in. If you press this button in the middle of a song, it will act as a break, a little rhythmic break for your song as you're playing. So in this case, I just want to count in. I don't want a very fancy intro. Turn this on. And that was the count in. Every style that you choose comes with 4 different style variations. From a simple variation, which is variation 1, and you press it again, it goes to red, that will be variation 2. And if you press this on this side, it will be variation 3, it gets busier. You press that again, it goes to variation 4, which is the busiest and is usually reserved for the chorus of the tune. So before you go to each variation, you can also press a little rhythmic feel before you press the variations, and it would add interest to your song arrangement. Let me show you what I mean. So this is rhythm variation 1, not that busy. Let's do a little fill and go to variation 2. You can hear that more instruments has been introduced. Press the fill again. Go to variation 3, green color. You can hear. Fill, very busiest. So you can use all these different variations to build your arrangement accordingly. The tempo of this style is currently 104 as stated here on screen. How then do you change the tempo? There are a few ways you can use to change the tempo. If you know how fast it's going to be, you can just tap the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that the tempo has decided that what you were pressing was 83 beats per minute. If you tap quicker, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a quicker beat there. What if you want to change to a very exact figure? All you need to do is hold on to this button and turn the dial, and you can see that the tempo moves accordingly to the direction of the dial. If you would like to practice with a metronome, all you need to do is hold on to the shift button here and press this metronome, and you can hear a metronome sound will be activated. You can also adjust how loud you want your metronome to be by going into the settings and going to that feature that says metronome level, moving the cursor down and shifting it up to the maximum. And now the metronome will be at its loudest. And you can also have the metronome as the rhythm is playing. You can hear the metronome in the background, helping you to keep time. By default, the chord detection mode for the arranger feature on the Korg i3 is default to a standard fingered mode. And even if you want to play slash chords, for example, a C chord with an E bass, it is not going to react accordingly. You can see over here, I'm playing a C chord, but in an inversion that I want an E bass, it will not react accordingly. However, to change that, all I need to do is go to Settings, go to Chord Detect Mode, move the arrow down, and change to fingered 3 on bass. Right now, when I play this inversion, you can see that it is playing a C chord, but with an E bass. F chord with a C bass. This is really important for those who are taking the Trinity College of Music Electronic Keyboard syllabus. So each style that you load on your Korg i3 comes with 8 different parts. You have the bass part, drum parts, percussion, and then we have the chordal part, which is part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When you turn it on, every part is playing. You can turn off the parts simply by just holding on to Shift and turning off the parts that you do not want. So now nothing is sounding because I have already turned off every single part, and I will introduce the parts accordingly. Only the bass would sound. Now I want a little chord to come in. You can hear the strings comes in. And you can use this very effectively to vary your arrangement accordingly. I'm introducing the percussion and turning off the string sound. You can use this to arrange the song accordingly to how you want it to be. What if you feel the guitar voice is too loud and you want to turn it down? You can turn down the volume and change the levels for each of these parts simply by just holding down the corresponding button for that part that you want to turn down, and you can just lower the volume. You can hear now that the 12-string guitar is a lot lower in volume. What if you don't like the bass sound that is in this track here? You don't like the bass that is being used here. All you need to do is press that, and you can see that it shows bass is a fingered bass, and you can change to some other sound that you want. So in this instance, you can hear as I scroll through, you can change the parts, the instrument parts for every single track here accordingly. So you realize that you can really do a lot of variations to the accompaniment by turning on and off different parts, by mixing the different parts, by adjusting the levels of each different part, as well as changing the instrument voices of each different part of the Korg i3 accompaniment. Effects can not only be applied to just the sounds that you play, it can also be applied to the accompaniment parts, the rhythm parts. In this case, I'm going to show you how we're going to apply a wah effect to the bass part of the accompaniment here. All you need to do is press the Effects button and press it a couple of times until it stays Style FX1 or Style FX2. You can apply up to 2 effects per style. And here I have chosen the wah amp, and when I exit out, you can hear the bass. There's a wah effect applied. I can also determine the amount of effects that is applied to that track simply by holding the corresponding button for that track and just adjusting the amount of effects that is applied to that track accordingly. Under normal circumstances, when you turn on the keyboard, the entire keyboard will react to chord changes, as you can see over here. What if you want it to behave like a regular arranger keyboard where only the chords are detected on the left side of the keyboard? Just by pressing lower and split is not going to cut it, because all it does is just activate a different sound on the left hand split. It will still detect chords on the right hand, as you can see when I play. So you can actually do a split hold by just holding onto the sound set and pressing this button. You can see split hold is on. So even as you lift up your hands from the left side, it will still have the chord ongoing. What if you find that the instrument voices are too soft and the accompaniment is just too loud? What you can do is set a balance for the accompaniment parts and the voice parts just by holding onto the sound set button. And if you turn your dial, you can see a little balance diagram that will come out. So as you lower this, you can hear the style is much louder, and you press and hold it, turn up, the style becomes softer. After you have made all your changes, your complex changes, your effects, your parts, to the Korg i3, you don't want it to disappear when you turn it off. What you can do is save it to these different registration slots here, and it actually comes with many banks here that you can use. You can go in reverse just by pressing and holding shift, and it will move back in reverse. Each of this bank comes with 5 buttons you can save your settings to, and to save it, all you need to do is make sure that the bank that you have selected is the correct one. Press and hold this button over here and press the corresponding button you want to save to, and it will blink to show that it's saving. And once that is done, every setting that you have adjusted on your Korg i3 will be memorized and stored into that particular bank and that specific button. What if you want to default this entire keyboard to the factory settings? You want to clear everything that you have done. You just want it to sound like the way it did when it came from the shop. All you need to do is make sure that your keyboard is turned off. The power button is at the back. And all you need to do is just press and hold this button, this bank button. Press and hold it. As you turn on, you can see factory preload here. This will create a factory reset. It will ask you if you want to do a factory preload. Press enter and everything will be as per what it was when it came out from the shop. Final step is just to turn it off and turn it on again. After everything lights up, you have got yourself a factory default setting of the Korg i3 workstation. I hope you enjoyed learning about how to use your Korg i3 music workstation keyboard and this 27 critical basic operations that you should really just have it remembered by heart, and it should just be a muscle memory for you to be able to move around the different capabilities of this keyboard. My name is Jeremy C, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.